Hi everyone, welcome back. We're on to video now number 3 of my huge project for the year. If you haven't seen the first video and the second video, I'll link them in the description box for you. And I do advise you check those out, recommend you check them out. But in a nutshell, let's just recap. So I'm moving this year, and instead of doing a project pan and a collection video and a declutter video, I'm combining the 3 into one, and I'm sectioning the videos off for the type of makeup product. So this video, as I'm sure you've seen the title, is regarding eyeshadow palettes. So the video would be far too long if I included eye pencils and super shock shadows and individual shadows and glitter liners and all of that jazz. So this is literally just going to be big palettes. So big palettes this size, this sort of size eyeshadow palette. And I'm going to show you my whole collection, what I'm keeping, what I'm decluttering, and we're going to have, just like in the other videos, we're going to have a section of products that are literally on the chopping block. So I'm going to use them, I'm going to keep you updated, and they'll either go back into my collection because I'm going to decide to love them and keep them, or I'm going to project pan them, or I'm going to get rid of them. So this is going to be a big one, and I've not got all day, so let's make a start. So I'll just show you first of all the products or palettes that are absolutely, undoubtedly, unquestionably staying. There's just no way I'll part with them. It's just not going to happen. So the first one is the original gingerbread palette. I absolutely love this palette. This palette is arguably my favourite palette of all time. So sorry about the glare reflecting, but that's what the palette looks like. This is only just over a year old and it's going nowhere. Then I've got my gingerbread extra spicy. It's little brother or sister, and that is literally, I've only just had that this Christmas, so that is staying. I'm going to try to resist the urge to say it's staying for everyone, because obviously that's this section I'm showing you. This is my Urban Decay Naked Honey palette, which I absolutely love. I'm still toying with the idea of getting the Naked Cherry, but as far as I can tell from my research, the formula isn't as good. Okay, so on to some Colourpop palettes. These are all new. I literally just got these in the last couple of months. I've got the Night Owl, the Bird of... I'll just show them to you. That'll be useful. The Night Owl, the Bird of Paradise, and what was that other one it came with? Lovebird. There it is. Lovebird. So those 3 are new and are staying. Then I have... Going Coconuts, which I recently did a review video on because I think it was requested. Yeah, so Going Coconuts. I've got California Love, which is one of my absolute favourite Colourpop palettes. And the Whatever palette, which again is another big favourite. Then I'll show you this one. This is very, very close. Out of all my Colourpop palettes, these are my 2 favourites. I really love the Main Squeeze and the Sweet Talk palette. So that is the Main Squeeze, just because I love watermelon, but the quality is really excellent as well. And that's my much loved, a little bit beat up Sweet Talk palette. The Main Squeeze is the only one I've kept the packaging for because I just love watermelon so much. I only got my Colourpop Here Comes the Sun palette, which is the singles in the palette. I only got that last summer. So there's no way that was going to leave the collection. And my Too Faced Just Peachy, which is their mattes palette, which again is one of my all-time favourite palettes. This chocolate dipped shade is quite the dud, but the rest of the palette is gorgeous. I've got a few other palettes that aren't so new, but that I have decided to keep. One of them is the Flawless, which I actually wore on my wedding dress, I'm glad I didn't wear it on my wedding dress. I wore it on my wedding day, and as you can see, it's very, very loved. These are still good. They still smell fine. That is one of my favourite palettes, so I'm going to keep that. And also, I'm going to keep the Makeup Geek. I Love Makeup, which is Makeup Revolution, the Makeup Geek palette. As you can see, the main colours that I used are the blues. Now, I don't wear blue eyeshadow, but it's compulsory for my daughter's dancing show annually that she does wear blue eyeshadow and red lipstick to stand out on the stage for the camera, because they make DVDs of them. So the formula is lovely. in this palette, I must say, and I've never really delved into this section here, which just looks really gorgeous. So I'm definitely going to keep that because those perform well. You do need a glitter glue with them, but you know, I do for most things. And then this is just quite sentimental. It's the Moonshadow Baked palette in the Nude by Sephora. My friend Sita gave it to me. I haven't really worn it much, and to me they're almost like toppers rather than shadows, but that means a lot to me. She gifted that to me and I'm just not ready to let it go. Okay, so those are the shadows that are definitely being kept, and I'm going to keep this one as well. This is the Flawless Mattes 2 by Revolution. I don't really use it much, but I should, because the shades in there are beautiful, and it's just a really good set of transition colours. So I'll keep that. So let's move on now to just show you the palettes that I'm definitely decluttering. So I'm going to declutter my original Too Faced chocolate bar palette. I did once try to pan that, so as you can see it's got much love, and I would have finished it, but I don't know if it's because it's scented, but it's gone off and it burns my eyes when I use it and it makes them irritated in water, so I can't risk that. And same for this one. These next two palettes I'm going to show you, I've never smelled more horrendous smell from a makeup product in my life. This is the Urban Decay Naked 3. It is quite an old palette, but I really love the tones in this palette, and I'm absolutely gutted I didn't get more use out of it. It stinks, and when I put it on my eye, it just burns them. And okay, having smelling them both, I'm just going to tell you, although the Naked 3 palette burns me the most, this Kat Von D does smell worse. So this is the Shade and Light Eye palette from Kat Von D. I did consider keeping it for this middle shade to use as a contour shade. And I think that'll be fine on the face, because with the smell, you know, it's not so bad when it's on your face and not on your eyes. But I just think I have that much makeup. Why should I do that to myself? It's clearly expired, gone bad, gone rancid. I mean, let's just get rid of it. So those two are going. And although this one also has sentimental value, the pigmentation's just not there anymore. And again, it irritates my eyes, so I think that it's gone bad. These was a palette I put together when I had a shopping day with my friend Sita the last time I saw her, and it's the Makeup Obsession, which is again a derivative of Makeup Revolution. And it was like you bought these little clicky palettes and the little clickers, and you pop them in and made like a palette, but they're just really fiddly. Every time you pick it up and try and open it, they just sort of pop out like that. It's really annoying. And although I love the colour scheme that I put together for myself, I just can't actually wear them. They don't, when I go to apply them, there's just no pigment to them anymore, much like similarly to the way the Makeup Geek shadows, they did that to me after 12 months. They just stopped having any pigment. I've got 3 Makeup Academy eyeshadow palettes here. I was going to declutter this one, which I barely used. I didn't pay for it. It came, well, I say I didn't pay for it. I say that by accident sometimes. When I say that, I mean I didn't choose to buy it. Either came in a beauty box or an advent calendar, but essentially I still paid for that. So this is the palette here, and it's got this weird sort of cream shades here, and they're just completely lackluster. And that's the Eye and Face and More palette. And then I decided to get rid of my original Undressed one, which is a dupe of the Naked one. I assume because it burned my eyes. I was in the burned my eyes pile, but I can't 100% remember about that one. This is the only one I did consider keeping. I was going to keep it. It's the Undressed Me 2, which is the dupe of the Urban Decay Naked 2 palette. But the reason I've decided to get rid of that, even though these sort of do still work, is because A, I can still buy the Urban Decay Naked 2 if I really want these shades, because these are duping them, and B, I don't want to get sued, but I did read something to do with asbestos and Makeup Academy eyeshadows that frightened the life out of me. Google it if you want, but for that reason, personally, I'm just getting rid of all my Makeup Academy eyeshadows. I've got plenty. I don't need to keep things that are going to frighten me. Okay, and then these 2 palettes here are ones that I'm getting rid of, but they're not expired. I just can't get on with the shades, and I think my daughter would really love them. So this is one of my I Heart Makeup Revolution chocolate palettes. I used to collect them. I'm glad I stopped collecting them, because since I found Colourpop, the formula just doesn't compare. You do end up paying a little bit more for Colourpop in the UK than you do for Makeup Revolution, with shipping and taxes and all of that jazz and currency conversion, but for me it's worth the difference. What I did is I decided to dig out the shades that were duds. I tried every shade in this palette, dug out the rubbish ones, and what was left I was going to use. But then my daughter sort of saw this, you know, it's shaped like a chocolate bar, it's pink, she's 7, she asked me if she could have it, and I was just like, yeah. I mean, why wouldn't I just give it to her? It's half the shades are now gone. I've only got 2 mattes, neither of them are transition. I'd have to incorporate another palette to use this up, and the shades just aren't special enough for me to do that. So I'm going to give that to my daughter Scarlett, as I am this. It's the Redemption Mermaids versus Unicorns palette. She is a unicorn and she loves both mermaids and unicorns. I don't really wear these shades of green, and I don't really wear purples and blues that often. I just think she could have a lot of fun playing with that. So those 2 are coming out of my collection. Considered a declutter, but as I say, I'm going to give them to Scarlett. Now this palette is my MAC Warm Neutrals. I did actually have this in the declutter pile, and last minute I've just chickened out and I can't do it. I've gotten rid of all the shades that either didn't work for me or are used up. I think mainly they just didn't work for me, and this is what I'm left with. So I'm going to dig this shade out here, and I'm going to dig this shade out here, because as much as I love the tones, they just don't perform well anymore. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and depot these 2, which I think are sugar, is it Ginger Snap? And one of them's Amber Light, Ginger Snap. These 2 down here, I think I should still be able to get some use out of. That's Unwind and Divine Decadence. And then I'm going to dig this one out, which is useless as well, and keep this one, which is Warm Breeze. So that's 5 that's going to come out of there. I'm just going to try and depot them, which I think is going to be tricky. And then if they survive that, I'm going to put them in a little mini Travel Z palette and then declutter this. So that's the plan on that. Right, so let's have a look at the stuff that's going to be on the chopping block. Mainly on the chopping block is going to be my collection of I Heart Makeup Revolution, Tan Beauty, whatever, they're chocolate palettes. As I say, I used to collect them. Some of them are great, some of them are not. And I want to really sort through and use every single shade and dig into them this year and see what I'm going to keep and what I'm not. I've got some other stuff here as well. So let's go through. So today on my eyes, I have the Chocolate Rose Gold. So this was in the chopping block pile. I've got it on today. I've got to make sure my eyes don't water horrendously and that they just don't fade into nothingness. But so far that's going really well, and I think I'm probably going to end up keeping this palette. It's one of the lesser old ones. Then we have Chocolate Love, which I only bought because of the fact that I was collecting before I stopped collecting, and these shades really don't speak to me. I think this is probably going to end up in Scarlett's other pink palette, but we will see. Then we've got the Chocolate Elixir palette, and I do like this palette because it's got a lot of mattes in it. Now I'm not 100% sure, but I think this possibly is a dupe of Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. One of them is anyway, either the Elixir or the Rose Gold. So I'll give that one a try, but I think that one will end up staying. Then I've got Salted Caramel, which is a dupe of Too Faced Semi-Sweet palette. So I think there's a lot in there that I can work with, especially this lovely peanut butter shade there. So I'm excited to dip into that, and a little bit embarrassed and ashamed that I haven't done it sooner. This I probably will not get rid of. Again, it's got sentimental value. I have a friend called Lorraine on YouTube. I haven't spoke to her in a long time, and we did a makeup swap and I bought that for her, and it was just my first ever naked palette, and it's what got me into collecting them, and I do really like that. Naked, is it naked? Yeah, naked chocolate. I think people call it white chocolate, but it's actually naked chocolate. This is the Death by Chocolate. Now these are quite cool toned and a little bit darker, so again I'm not sure that will end up suiting me. I do tend to gravitate towards warmer toned shadows even in the winter, but I will try it. Salted Caramel we've looked at. Right, this one is Chocolate Vice. I can't remember what this was a dupe for, if it was, and I think it might have been. But yeah, I really should I really will. I'm going to put that at the front and go for that next. I love these peachy, pinky tones here. I think the golds are beautiful, so I'm hoping that one works out well. I'm going to put that on the front, and I'm going to try and get to that tomorrow. The reason I'm doing this with these chocolate bars is I find that they just get completely ignored, even though they look really nice as a collection, because I'm so excited to use my Colourpop shadows that I can't get excited about using these anymore, and I need to reignite that fire. And if I can't, then I'm going to get rid. So this is the golden bar, which is it's not the dupe for the Too Faced golden bar. It's really funny. I love the fact Too Faced did this. They just kept getting their palettes ripped off. So after Makeup Revolution released that, they ripped it off of them. So they got them back, which I think is great. They got their revenge on them with the golden bar. I'm going to try that and see how I get on. But I probably will at some point end up buying the Too Faced golden bar, because I do really like Too Faced eyeshadows. This is the I Heart. Yeah, we know that, Kelly. This is the mint chocolate palette. Now, this one I think is stunning. I don't wear them. I do love greens, but whenever I wear greens, I tend to gravitate towards the Garden of Eden palette by Sleek. So, so yeah, I will give that one a go. This one annoys me. It's got a broken clasp, which really annoys me. So for that reason, I'll probably end up giving this one away. I can see I've got some hard pan going on. This is the chocolate and peaches. Again, I'm not too bothered about that one, because if I give that to Scarlett, I could always just go and buy the Too Faced peach palette, which I have wanted to try. And then the last chocolate bar is the orange chocolate, which I really do like. I actually took this on holiday with me one time, and I really enjoyed the looks I got out of it. So yeah, and I do, like I say, warm tones. That's most likely going to end up staying. I'm pretty sure about that one as well. So let's move on to the other palettes here. This is Revolution's Girl Panic. Now, I believe my sister-in-law Leah gave that. She might have, yeah, I think that one of these types like this my sister-in-law gave to me. I think it was this one, and you've got your row of mattes and then your shimmers there. I have worn it once or twice, and I'm not sure how I feel about it, and since I didn't choose it, I'm going to try and these see how I go. This is the original Flawless mattes. I bought it thinking, yes, a whole palette of mattes, and they brought out Flawless too, and I realised that this is full of cool tones, and I needed to have waited for the warm tone one. So I'm just not sure. I have used it a bit, like you can tell, but I'm just not sure that the tones suit me, so I'll try it, and that one might have to go. This is the Neutrals versus Neutrals. Now, I do love this palette, and Emily Noel raved about this palette. I do like it. Love is it's the wrong word. I need to check and make sure it's not too old, A, and it doesn't burn my eyes, and B, I just know there's something about it. Every time I've used it, I've not been that happy with my eye look, as silly as that sounds. This is the Salvation Palette Iconic Pro 2, which is a dupe for the Lorac Pro 2. And again, full of cool tones, not my cup of tea. I'm going to try it, and I'm almost certain that that one's going to be gone. This is the Iconic Pro Revolution palette, which is the dupe of the Lorac Pro 1. This is supposed to be its warmer brother or sister, but again, whenever I've used this, I've not been very happy with my eye look, and I don't know if the tones suit me, so I'm going to give that a go and see how I get on. Then I've got my 3 Sleek palettes. So I'm almost completely sure that these are going to stay. I love them. I'm just checking they're not too old, because they're the oldest palettes in my collection. But Sleek palettes keep so well. It's unbelievable. This is the Garden of Eden. So I don't get on too well with the purpley ones, but I do get on with the greens. This is the Oh So Special. I've worn that recently and it went well, so yeah, I think they're probably going to be fine. And this is the Storm. So the Storm palette is a little bit of a cult classic, or at least it used to be. It's old school. The Storm palette and the original Naked chocolate bar are two of the oldest palettes in my collection, so we'll see there. And then there's this one. It's not got a name on it, and I think it came with one of the advent calendars. I'm almost certain I'm going to give this to Scarlett. These 3 shades here I really like, so I'm going to wear them more often, see if I love them enough to keep this palette just for 3 shades, and if I do, then I'll pan those before I pass it on to her, and probably this white cream as well, but other than that, yeah, that's going to go to her at some point. I don't want all the shades in that. Right, so that is all the palettes. Like I say, next I'm going to do, I've got a box here of, I've got eyebrow products, I've got everything else eye related. I'm going to do it in the next video. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and wish me luck with the stuff that's going on the chopping block. I think I'm going to decide first about the chopping block before I decide about what I'm project planning. I nearly forgot this. It's my little D palette. This is an Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow, which I got from TK Maxx in Rosette. I can't find a way at the minute to make that work. When I put it on, the pigment's lovely, and then like that, the pigment just disappears. I think it's because it's old. I'm going to give it one last shot. It's on the chopping block, and then we'll see next time if it's getting decluttered. This is a shade from a face palette of Makeup Revolutions. It's too golden for me to use on my face as a highlighter, even when I'm really tanned. So I'm going to try that as an eyeshadow, and if I can make it work, great. If I can't, then it's going. So yeah, that really is everything this time, and I'll see you soon, guys. Take care. Bye.